Hi there, it's 18:30 hours GMT here in Accra. Good evening and welcome to News Tonight here on GHOne Television. We are live from our studios at the Platinum Place, Northridge, also live on Facebook, on X and on YouTube. Now, here's what to expect in the next hour. Majority Leader Mahama Iyariga meets with sector ministers to discuss key legislative proposals ahead of the second session of the 9th Parliament. Also, congratulations in order for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia on his election as flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party. But what will it take to translate that victory into success in the 2028 general elections? We find out on Inside Tonight.
For a fact that I think that all the other factions that are supported, are ready to team up, to ensure that the party, is able to patch up the differences. But I can say for a fact that I think that all the other factions that are supported, team up, to ensure that the party, is able to patch up the differences.
In business tonight, GRA to intensify efforts to level the playing field for businesses as concerns grow over unequal tax compliance and its impact on small and medium-sized enterprises. We'll also bring you some updates on the foreign front, where nearly 700,000 people affected after floods submerged homes, farmlands and roads across parts of Mozambique. Well, stay with me because I've got details of these stories, including the latest in the world of sports, all coming up in the next 60 minutes. Well, grateful for your company tonight. I am Joshua Kodjo Mensah. Let's do the details. And a young couple have been found dead in their room at Kade in the Kwabebrim municipality of the Eastern region. The woman was found lifeless in the room with visible head injuries, while the man was also found dead at the scene. Now, police officers who arrived at the location conducted preliminary checks and took inventories in line with standard crime scene procedures. Now, the incident attracted a large crowd of residents, many of whom gathered to catch a glimpse of the shocking developments. Now, the bodies have since been conveyed to the morgue for preservation and autopsy to support ongoing investigations. Although unconfirmed reports suggest a disagreement may have occurred between the couple prior to their deaths, police say these claims remain speculative. The Ghana Police Service has launched a full investigation to establish the exact circumstances surrounding the incident and has urged the public to remain calm and refrain from speculation as inquiries continue. Well, let's move on to some other stories this evening. For close to 5 years, the Ofankor police office has stood abandoned and left to rot under the mercy of the weather. Now, built with taxpayers' money to serve the community, the facility is now a pale shadow of itself, with residents now cut off from basic postal services and forced to seek alternatives far from the area. In this report, Obed Kingaglo tells the story of the sinking Ofankor post office and the growing frustration of residents in the area.
Built with the taxpayers' money, but abandoned and slowly sinking into neglect, broken signages and sagging roofs of the Ofankor post office is a sad story for many residents who say the closure has come at a great cost. This is the Ofankor post office, not just a random abandoned structure, but an example of the many public facilities, specifically post offices, left to rot under the mercy of the weather, taken over by reptiles. A situation which poses serious questions about the use of the taxpayers' money.
We need the help of the government. We've spoken to the Assembly and the DCE and the MCE. They've been watching, taking critical look at it, and it is getting rotten. You can look at it. Just even take a critical look at it. Is it nice? No, people do come here and it's like we have been ISS board. Is it fair? It's not fair, whereby they are being paid for it and the government is wasting money on it. And look at it, getting rotten.
With no functional post office, basic services like sending letters, receiving parcels, and official correspondence have become a struggle for many people in the Ofankor area. Residents say they are forced to commute long distances to neighboring communities, an added burden they dread.
I live here in Ofankor, but if I have to post something or receive something, I have to go all the way to Accra, and it's all time wasting due to the traffic and all of that. I won't lie to you.
The structure of the abandoned post office also raises concern of safety. Built in a low-lying area, the post office now sits in stagnant water, with its foundation visibly compromised. Locals fear that it is only a matter of time for the structure to collapse. But is management of the Ghana Post aware of the poor state of the Ofankor post office?
Ofankor, I have gone to look at it myself. During the rainy season, I went there and the place was waterlogged.
True.
You know, it's almost sinking.
Yeah.
And you would have to raise it down to the ground. We've asked for assessment. We wanted to see if we could just do a renovation, but we find that it may not be the best thing to do.
She explains that assessments have shown that the structure lacks the required structural integrity, making it unsafe for use in its current state.
Ghana Post is from somewhere before 1900. So some of the buildings date that far back. Some are very old. We require to do a lot of work to restore ourselves to where we want to go.
Her comments, while acknowledging the problem, offer little comfort for students who say 5 years is too long for a community to be cut off from basic public service. For these pupils, the impact is even more frustrating.
I feel a little bit sad because I didn't get the chance to experience how we send letters, how to get your own address, and how to send items to your loved ones, your friends who are in Ghana and those who are also outside the country.
The question many continue to ask is simple. If the building is unsafe, why has it been left to rot? What should have been a vibrant public service hub for postal services have been left to ruins under the mercy of the weather. This only reminds us of a public institutions left to ruins and the taxpayers' money going down the drain. Reporting for GHOne News, Obed Kingaglo, Ofankor, Accra.
From Ofankor, let me take legislative arm of government, Ghana's Parliament, where Ghana's 9th Parliament is set to reconvene tomorrow, Tuesday, February 3, marking the start of its second session amid heightened national expectations. Ahead of the sit-in, Majority Leader Mahama Ayarga met with sector ministers to discuss key legislative proposals. Now, the meeting included Interior Minister Muntaka Mubarak Mohammed, Communications Minister Sam Nate George, and Deputy Defense Minister Ernest Broja Jemfi. Lawmakers are expected to resume work on pending legislation and review new proposals on the agenda. Now, Parliament will also tackle key policy and economic issues likely to dominate debates in the months ahead. Well, let's get on phone now and speak to the second Deputy Majority Whip, Richard Champong, for more. Honourable, thank you so much for joining us tonight. So, really, which pending legislation and key policy debates do you expect will most influence the country's political and economic direction in the coming months?
Good evening, my brother, and let me say a very good evening to your cherished listeners. And thank you for having me. You know, Parliament resumes tomorrow, and we have a lot of those instruments and agreements. Some are at committee stages, some at amendment levels, and new ones to be introduced. And the key among them, you know, this February and the State of the Nation address, the President must appear before the House and account to the good people of this country, where he took the country and so far so good, where we are and its plans for the next year. All these things will come out within this meeting. But I know we have University of Engineering and Agricultural Science, the Bonso Bill, Property Rights and Sponsors Bill, Human Sexual Rights and Family Bill, that's LGBTQ+. You know, these issues have been topical. And even our colleagues are saying we are trying to run away from it. Though they've forgotten that we passed it in the 8th Parliament, only that the President refused to attend to it. It is coming up so that we refer to the committee, those who want to make an input and make the necessary input so that the House will take a decision on it. We have a lot of activities, the Ghana Book Development Council Bill, College of Education Amendment Bill, National Petroleum Authority Bill, a lot of them. If I run you through, we have more than 41 instruments and those that this meeting will deal with them. And we have Ghana Cocoa Board Amendment Bill, Security and Intelligence. A lot of work to be done within this session. So we will encourage members to take their time, attend committee meetings, and then try to make sure that their voices are heard. So the good people of this country who voted for them will get a real benefit for the reasons why they voted for them. So we have a lot on our table.
Leader, it's quite instructive that you mentioned that for the people to get the real benefits for why they voted for the legislators, because usually we've seen long-drawn battles and some people have felt that, well, some of these things could easily be avoided so that we get the legislations worked on quickly. So what's the assurance to the Ghanaian people that this next session of Parliament, what should we be expecting from you as legislators?
So, as leadership, we have a program this weekend. We'll run members through, let them get a better appreciation of what is happening. You know, many of them are new members, so we need to work with them, let them understand the nitty-gritties of the workings of Parliament. And by the end of the day, we have sponsors of those bills. A lot of things happen at committee level which the media is not aware. And now, let's give thanks to the majority leader, Honorable Mama Ayare, that many of the committee meetings are carried live on Parliament TV. So people get opportunity to see what happens over there. You write to the public, you can bring memoranda so that they can also suggest or improve what the executive has presented before the House. So democracy is becoming like all-inclusive thing, and everybody is participating in it.
Right.
The political patronage is what is killing our democracy. Let people have their voices heard. Let them make their input. You incorporate all those things. So if you watch, a bill will be presented, and the certain minister will come and withdraw the bill and present a new one. Because we've done extensive work on it, why do we come to the floor, spend days to do amendments?
Right.
So if we think that we've incorporated almost all the views of other opposing sides, then withdraw the bill, give it to the drafters to do the right thing so that when the bill comes again, we'll not do much work on them.
Okay.
And when we withdraw the bill, the minority will say, what's in front of the decision? Why are you withdrawing it? The committee are taking a decision. Why do you want to do about 300 amendments? It's waste of time.
Right. Well,
so these are some of the things we are trying to navigate and make members understand what leadership is about and what we are trying to do differently.
Very well. Well, Leader, thank you so much for your time. That's Richard Champon. He's second Deputy Majority Whip, engaging with us on this development. But let's speak to the Executive Director for Parliamentary Network Africa, Sami Obeng. He's also joining us on his expectations of this session of Parliament. Sami, thank you so much for your time tonight. So really, let me start from where we left off with Mr. Champon. So I was finding out from him basically what the expectations of the Ghanaian people should be from them, especially looking at the fact that sometimes deliberations on some of these bills gets so prolonged. What are your expectations personally?
Well, first of all, it is my expectation that as Parliament commences its second year in this ninth Parliament, it will be able to look at the business that went unfinished in 2025, prioritize those ones that require urgent attention, put in a lot more time, be able to ensure that many of the load that is on Parliament are dealt with early days, of the meeting of Parliament, so that we avoid the Parliament then starts to commit long, including late night, when the House is now about adjourning, simply because not much was done during the beginning of the system. So we expect that they will hit the ground running right from day one. That is extremely important. We expect that they would look at the load of work that they have before them, ensuring that they deal with as many of them as possible, prioritizing so that those ones that are of immense citizens' interest will be dealt with quickly. But on the issue around how long it takes Parliament to pass laws, I would always insist that it is better that Parliament does thorough work with enough engagement with citizens, so long as they are not being overly focused on wasting time. But it is not about time wasting, but it's about doing more of a thorough work, engaging with all necessary stakeholders, so that bills that comes out of Parliament pass are legislation that can stand the test of time. But of course, that's something we should be able to support and encourage Parliament to. So yes, we expect Parliament to go about its work and go about it diligently. We expect that some of the things that did not make for a very good reputation of Parliament in the first year will not repeat itself in this, coming year. And we expect that members of Parliament will recognize that the current Parliament and its ways is not like Parliament of old, where citizens don't get to know what goes on in Parliament in real time. And the only time that citizens will hear from Parliament is when parliamentary issues get reported in the dailies or on radio and television. Now, citizens are watching parliamentary sessions in real time. Citizens get to see and appreciate members of Parliament who are doing the right thing, and they get to see those who are doing the wrong thing. And I bet them, at the hour of reckoning, so to speak, at the time of reckoning when elections come, members of Parliament who, do not behave appropriately based on what their citizens and their constituents are watching on television, could certainly, face the anger of the discerning Ghanaians. So members of Parliament must be aware of this and ensure that they are putting in the right energies and time when Parliament resumes.
Absolutely. And finally, in the last time, we saw a lot of new entrants getting into Parliament. Would you say that the new MPs, the first-timers, have been able to basically get a grasp of their dealings in the House?
Unfortunately, Parliament itself put in place a lot of important measures, which, in my opinion, should have onboarded these new members of Parliament properly. There were orientations for new members of Parliament, separate from the general orientation that were done for all members of Parliament. There were special sessions for these new members of Parliament with Mr. Speaker. There are new provisions in the standing order that seeks to empower new members of Parliament, etc., etc. So I think that the institution generally has put in place some systems to encourage new members of Parliament to be able to go about their job and go about it diligently.
Right.
What is left is for these new members of Parliament to take advantage of these opportunities and deal with the system appropriately. Go about their work with diligent, go about their work with the learning that they've been able to make. Yes, 1 year may not be enough to learn all the ropes when it comes to Parliament. But if you are diligent, 1 year should be good enough time for you to know what time is it as a member of Parliament.
Very well. Well, thank you so much for joining us with your thoughts. Samuel being Executive Director of Parliamentary Network Africa. You're still watching News Tonight here on GHOne television. We'll take a breather here, but we do return. We've got more for you. But always, always remember to brush day and night with Pepsodent.
On Friday, 6 February.
Well, thank you so much for staying on with us here on News Tonight on GHOne Television. I am Joshua Kodjo Mensah. Let's do Insight now. And political marketing strategist Dr. Bernard Tubuain is urging the re-elected flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to translate his calls for unity into action by reaching out to supporters of his former contenders. Dr. Bawumia emerged winner of the NPP's presidential primary, securing 56 0.48% of the total valid votes cast. Kennedy Ohini Akumpreku, Japan, placed second, with Brian Echampon finishing third in the closely contested race. The outcome sets the tone for the NPP's early preparations toward the 2028 general elections. But Dr. Tutubu Ahini insists party cohesion will be critical going forward, warning that victory in 2028 will depend on how quickly the party rallies its base after the primaries.
Good morning to our listeners. And I think that, yes, that's a valid question, in the sense that that is what the party actually is hoping for. And at the end of the day, one of the variables that actually played out with the various research works that came out was the ability of the candidate to unite the party. And in considering that, the delegates, the MPP delegates, believe that Dr. Bawumia is the one person among the five who has the capabilities and abilities to unite the party. Monitoring what is going on from social media perspective, and all that, I can say for a fact that I think that all the other factions that are supported, are ready to team up, to ensure that the party, is able to patch up the differences, come together as a united front, and then forge forward. But if I get your question right, it means that probably it will depend on Dr. Bawumia's, intention to unite the party. But I want to assure that, he has no option but to work towards the unity of the party. And so if you listen to his acceptance, speech, what he was indicating was that he would do everything possible, to ensure that not just the people that he contested with, but people who are disenchanted, old members of the party who are not really happy, the likes of Professor Frimpong Boateng, the likes of...
Meanwhile, the camp of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is calling for a decisive consolidation of the NPP following his victory in the presidential primaries. Now addressing the media, Member of Parliament for Ifiduasi Asokore, Dr. Nana Efriye, dismissed claims that Dr. Bawumia relied on internal party structures to secure his win. Now, he maintained that the outcome reflected the will of delegates and the party's readiness to move forward as a united force.
We'll strive for unity, but cannot be undermined, and neither can he be taken for granted. Just as in the past we allow leaders to have total control of this party, he is supposed to have absolute control of this party. We did it last. We united all behind Dr. Bawumia, and we are going to do it again. Remember, all those in the camps of the other aspirants, it's a family. We are friends. We are not enemies. Behind the scenes, we click so much, and nothing has changed. And so we here in Ashanti region use this opportunity to extend the branch of the olive tree to them, the leaf to them, that we are bringing peace, and they should show love. Love must lead us, and the party is first.
Well, let's engage senior lecturer and political analyst at the University of Cape Coast, Dr. Jonathan Asante-Ochre, for a conversation on this particular development. Doc, thank you for your time tonight. So, as it stands now, let me start from the point that Dr. Nana Efriye makes, that Dr. Bawumia has total control of the party. Now, how do you situate that amidst the quest to secure a united front after the elections?
There is an inconsistency in his pronouncement. In one breath, you want reconciliation. On the other hand, too, you want absolute control. So how will the rest come in between the lines? Now, what I foresee him preaching is the fact that the Bawumia element or the support base will want to take absolute control over the party, and they will end up alienating the support base of Kennedy, the support base of Brian, the support base of Edichum, and the support base of Kodjo Japan. And if that happens, that which Dr. Bawumia is calling for in terms of unity will not see the light of day. This is simple logic. It means that you want to crush divergent views. That is not democracy. And that's the more reason why some of us have been preaching that they would have elected using the top-bottom approach. They would have elected, we are going to witness a democratically elected tyrant. Yes, they must have used democratic processes to elect that person. But that person will become a tyrant. Why? Because you will have to whip everybody in line. And obviously, a support base will want to gain absolute control over the party and ensure that it is only their support base that will get elected to the various executive positions.
But Doc, isn't that the reality, though, that Dr. Bawumia has assumed absolute in terms of authority over the party? He's the leader of the party, basically. And so it is his call now to whip people in line. And so isn't Dr. Efrie just making a point that everybody already knows?
Everybody knows that he has been democratically elected. So he's definitely going to have control over the party. But the party has structures. Democracy does not mean that we must all think alike. It means that we may agree to disagree, but most importantly, we must have consensus view to most of the issues instead of going on the tangent of voting. Once you have consensus view to most of the issues that come onto the table for discussion, the party will be moving forward. Because the point will be that, well, I disagreed during the meeting, but at the end of the day, when the consensus was reached, I was part of it. So people will feel part of the process. But this absoluteness that he's talking about, that's why I said that they're only going to experience a democratically elected tyrant. Because believe you me, people who never supported Dr. Bawumia, whether they are MPs or they are not MPs, whether those who intend to be PCs, whether those who intend to be elected executives for the constituency, regional, national, this whipping in line will take place. So, at the end of the day, if you read behind the scenes...
So, Doc, you believe that with a top-bottom approach...
Just one point on this issue.
Okay.
If you realize what Mr. Kennedy said as part of his concession speech, he said, we look on to see what happens in the near future. That is pregnant with ideas and different views altogether. And that is my view on that issue. Elections that are yet to take place.
And that's where I want to come in. That are you by this comment suggesting that, well, there'll be a heavy influence of the elected candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, when it comes to the subsequent elections we are supposed to see in the party?
Certainly, because he will want to have people he can work with, not people who are going to be destructive. He will want to work with people, he want to get those who will be elected and then will be able to work with. Apart from that, those who supported him, they will make him feel like he is indebted to them. Therefore, once it is their turn, going for position A, B, C, and D within the party, he owes to them some kind of support, whether directly or indirectly. So that is where people will take advantage of that particular process and ensure that those who were not part of the support base of Bawumia get alienated.
And so, from your experience monitoring the space and also getting to understand the politics of the New Patriotic Party, what mechanism should Dr. Bawumia be adopting as he stands now?
Well, if they really want unity in deed, not in word, then they should allow the democratically, elected structures or the structures of the party to work without unnecessary or unbridled interferences. Other than that, they will not go into the 2028 elections with a solid foundation and with a solid leader. Don't forget that they have said that in their view, they have 2 million people who did not take part in the voting. And in their view, these are their supporters. So Dr. Bawumia is with the view that he wants to send olive branch to these people so that they come back. So if you will not let them feel part of the process and re-energize the process, but you will want that absolute control, then certainly you are not going to get these people come back to the fold of the party.
Doc, quite finally and quite briefly as well, some say that this is a bet that the other contenders, especially the team of Kennedy Japan, actually made. And so you should allow them to lay in that bed.
Well, you see, the reason for a bottom-up approach to elections is the fact that those at the lower levels will have this presidential aspirant take part, influence, help, assist financially so they get elected, up to the point of national. So you will have known by number the people that per your influence and, financial assistance, you know the people who will vote for you. This does not happen. And so if Dr. Bawumia is not careful, they will oppose him all along the process. And by the time that they are done, there wouldn't be any unity.
Well, Doc, thank you. Thank you so much for your time this evening. But still with Insight tonight, constituency chairman of the NPP in the Ashanti region have thrown their full support behind the party's newly elected flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. At a press conference on Monday, the caucus of 47 constituency chairmen convened to thank God and formally congratulate Dr. Bawumia on his loud and resounding victory in the presidential primaries. Spokesperson Frederick Ajiman Mensah, who is Kwabri East constituency chairman, emphasized that all chairmen are united behind the flag bearer and committed to working under his leadership.
Here this afternoon to give thanks to the Almighty God for how far He's brought us as a party and as a region and as a caucus. This caucus is a caucus of the constituency chairmen in the Ashanti region, all the 47 constituency chairmen. We are here this afternoon to congratulate His Excellency Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia for that loud and resounding victory that he had on Saturday's presidential primaries. We are here to rally our support for him and to wish him well and to give him a big congratulation and also assure him that having been elected as the flag bearer of the party, we are committing ourselves to his direction. We are promising him of our full and unflinching support. We are waiting for him to set out the agenda, and we will follow that agenda and we will work through to the end so that at the end of the day, the party, the elephant, will become our winning team. Thank you very much.
Well, so that's it for the NPP and then Inside as well. Alote said compliance levels have been encouraging, adding that work on the Salaga market is far advanced to absorb traders who may be displaced by the exercise. Calvin Powell has more in this report.
On the second day of the exercise, the Central Business District recorded a significant flow of vehicular and human traffic, marking a notable improvement compared to the previous months. Speaking to the media after the exercise, the mayor, Michael Nikbako Alote, said the abandoned Salaga market will be ready for business by the end of May, following an inspection of ongoing works.
I'll thank God. Secondly, I'll thank Your Excellency John Dramani Mahama for having a vision and dream to bring 24-hour markets. And as I spoke to you, as I'm talking to you, we went to the Salaga markets. I want people to see we are not just doing decongestion, but we are building the market as we promised. So work is ongoing at the markets. That when we finish the market, we'll move some of the women which are behind the red lines. We'll move them back to the market.
To prevent vendors' wares from spilling onto pedestrian walkways, a red line zone was demarcated to guide traders on approved display areas. The mayor is urging vendors operating at the frontage of the popular cantonment to second-hand clothing market to voluntarily relocate into the market or risk the confiscation of their goods.
This exercise is continuing. Kaneshi, Abosokai. I'm working with my brother there, the MCE there. I'm working with my brother at Ayawaso Central. I'm working with my brother at Labadi. We are working Kolikote. We are all working together as a team. So this is not just Accra Metro decongestion. Tomorrow we are going to Abubushi. And next tomorrow we are going to Kaneshi, which we are working together. You see, when people come together, it becomes more stronger.
Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu joined the exercise to lend her support, describing it as an initiative in the interest of the general public.
Out of business now.
The Business Brief is brought to you by
Over unequal tax compliance and its impact on small and medium-sized enterprises. At an executive business dialogue here in Accra, Acting Commissioner of the Domestic Tax Revenue Division, Dr. Martin Kobil Yamborga, outlined the new approach aimed at ensuring fairness, widening the tax net and supporting sustainable SME growth.
Speaking at the Executive Business Dialogue organized by Makers and Partners, Acting Commissioner of the Domestic Tax Revenue Division, Dr. Martin Kobil Yamborija, said the Ghana Revenue Authority's focus is to achieve parity in tax compliance.
Parity means that want everybody who's supposed to comply. Because the issue about tax is that when some are compliant and others are not compliant, those who are compliant become disadvantaged.
He explained that the objective of the current compliance drive is to ensure that all businesses required by law to register for value-added tax do so.
So the purpose of the team is to make sure that everybody who qualifies to register for VAT register, file, and they pay their taxes as required by the law.
The dialogue comes at a time when small and medium-sized enterprises continue to face mounting pressure from tax reforms, compliance requirements, and fiscal consolidation measures.
So what we'll do is that we're going to go from shop to shop, from lane to lane, from building to building, finding out those who are registered, and then those who are not registered, we'll try to educate them and encourage them to also register.
SMEs remain a major driver of employment and economic growth, yet many struggle to interpret policy changes and align themselves with day-to-day business decisions.
But when you have a professional firm like Makers and Partners helping you to put structures in place so that even though you are starting small, the idea is that you grow from SME to become a corporate so that you don't fall into an era where once the person leaves, there's no more business for anybody.
There are a lot of Ghanaian businesses also doing great work. I think that a starting point is for government to use public procurement, this procurement power, to support Ghanaian businesses that are already being innovative and doing well. And of course, we can also redirect them where we want them to be.
The forum is designed to bridge that gap, bringing policymakers, tax experts, and business leaders together to demystify tax reforms and offer practical guidance tailored to the realities of SMEs.
Well, that's it for the business. Let's bring you the latest in the world of sports.
The Business Brief was brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
Many thanks for joining me here on Sports Brief. I am Monica Bukai. Let's begin with futsal. And the Ghana futsal team will on Tuesday take on Zambia in the first leg of the Africa Futsal Cup of Nations qualifier. Team administrator William Bosman says the team is eager to make a strong statement against the Zambians after suffering defeat to them during the group stages of the 2024 AFCON tournament.
For us, it's an opportunity the defeat that we suffered to the Zambians 2 years ago in Morocco. For us, it's an opportunity to make a statement for futsal in Ghana. You know, we are relatively a younger when it comes to the development of football, futsal across Africa. So, it's an opportunity to make a statement. And Ghana is up there to the level of the other African countries who made it to the World Cup, who play at the highest level in terms of futsal. We want to let everybody know that Ghana is up there. Ghana is ready to compete with the very best futsal across Africa.
Now, Bosman, however, revealed that the players are fully prepared for the encounter and determined to secure a home victory to boost their confidence ahead of the second leg in Lusaka, Zambia.
We just finished our training session a couple of hours ago, and the players do not show any kind of pressure. They are confident, they believe in themselves. They've seen the Zambian side, they know them quite a bit from our game 2 years ago. So they are poised for action, they are to get a win here, and also to go out there to Lusaka and get an edge over the Zambians in this encounter.
Away from that, GHOne Mackenzie, South Africa's Minister of Sport, has dismissed reports claiming the country has been confirmed as the new host of the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations, WAFCON. In an official statement released on Monday, Mackenzie clarified that South Africa has not been awarded the hosting rights for the tournament. He stressed that Morocco remains the officially designated host and that no formal decision has been taken to relocate the competition. According to the statement, South Africa has only expressed its willingness to support the Confederation of African Football should alternative hosting arrangements become necessary. The clarification follows comments made on Sunday by Deputy Minister of Sport, Pete Mabe, during the Hollywood's Best Super League Awards ceremony in Johannesburg, where she suggested that South Africa was ready to take over hosting duties amid reports that Morocco had withdrawn. And that will be it for sports. My name is Monica Bukari. Back to you, Joshua. Kodjo.
Thanks,
Mensah.
Monica Bukari, for bringing us the latest in the world of sports. We'll take another breather and return with more. But remember to always brush your teeth every morning and night with Pepsodent. Well, thank you so much for staying on with us. This is still News Tonight here on GHOne Television with me, Joshua Kodjo Mensah. The Minister for Health, Kade, has ordered an immediate audit of all health facilities in the OT region to ensure effective and efficient healthcare delivery. The directive follows reports of shortages of essential medical items and limited access to critical equipment in some health facilities across the region. The audit forms part of broader efforts by the ministry to identify gaps and strengthen the healthcare system. Speaking after a 2-day tour of the region, Kade assured stakeholders on incentives for health workers, especially for newly posted medical doctors.
My technical advisor is going to lead a team of all stakeholders, and I will be guided how to solve all these problems, all the health indicators. So I've asked that a complete audit of all the health facilities in OT must be done immediately. So chiefs, ministers, everybody must have a small committee. What is it that central government can do? What is it that locally we can do? We must turn that story around next year. This cannot be said about OT. And so that is it. We'll form that committee.
Well, so as the Health Minister, Kade, let's bring you some international stories. Now, nearly 700,000 people in Mozambique have been affected by devastating floods, with over 100,000 forced into overcrowded temporary shelters as homes, farmlands and infrastructure are submerged. The disaster comes just months after a severe drought compounding the suffering of already vulnerable communities. United Nations warns the situation is particularly dangerous for women, children, the elderly and people with disabilities. The World Food Programme plans to provide life-saving food and nutrition support to 450,000 people, but urgently needs $32 million with funding down 40% from last year. Now, with roads and bridges destroyed, boats, aircraft and helicopters are being used to reach isolated communities. Well, that's all we've got for you in this package here on News Tonight. I am Joshua Kodjo Mensah. Remember, State of Affairs is live on your screens at 9 p.m. And tonight, we are sitting with the CEO of the Buffer Stock Company Limited. We'll look at the issues surrounding buffer stock and food shortages and, of course, what the mandate is going forward. And then we have an exclusive with Musa Dankwa, the man with Global Info Analytics, who brought the data that challenged, of course, the spirituality and the prophecies. You don't want to miss State of Affairs. It's at 9 p.m. here on GHOne Television. I'll see you.